Hello viewers, how are you all? I hope so, you all are great. So I'm back with part 2 of Act 1 Scene 2, The Tempest by William Shakespeare, and I'm sure that in our last class you all have understood part 1 of Act 1 Scene 2, right? So let's talk about what we have studied in our last class, that is Act 1 Scene 2, part 1 of The Tempest by William Shakespeare, right? So when this act started, so what exactly happened? Miranda was quite worried, exasperated, perturbed, right? Why? Because she has seen Tempest in the sea, and she saw that people were dying on the ship, and ship is going to be sunk in the sea, right? So it was happening, and it chilled Miranda to the marrow. Miranda was quite afraid and frightened of this sight, and then Miranda asked her father that if you have created this tempest in the sea, so please put an end to it. So Prospero clarifies it and tries to pacify his daughter that whatever he has done has been for you, right? So it is not a natural tempest, rather it is a artificial tempest, and it has been created by Prospero. So no one has come to any harm. This tempest did not create any devastation for the people. Why? Because Prospero had a purpose to take a sweet revenge on all the conspirators, evildoers, right? So this was the conversation between Miranda and his father, and later on Prospero says that it's time to tell you a story, that who I was before, who you were before, how we have come on this island, right? So Prospero makes up his mind to tell the story of his past to his daughter Miranda, right? So till here we have studied in Act 1 Scene 2, right? Now we will see that where do we have to start from. So as you can see on the screen, we have to start from Miranda, right? So let's get started, students. Please be attentive and you need to try to understand it, right? So now Miranda is speaking. You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay not yet, right? So here Miranda is saying, you have often started telling me who I am, what I am, but changed your mind and left my curiosity unsatisfied, saying that the time is not yet come. Right? So here Miranda means to say that before you have said that you will be telling me story, but every time you just change your mind, and you just leave my curiosity unsatisfied, right? So and after that you says that the time has not come, that befitting, that appropriate time has not come, that right time has not come to tell you a story, right? So Miranda is saying to her father that every time you do that thing and you just do not tell me story, what you just says that you will be telling me story, right? So it arises curiosity in me when you say that you are going to tell me a story, but then after what do? You just change your mind and you ask me to wait because right time hasn't come yet. So what Prospero is speaking, the hours now come, the very minute bids thee, O thine ear, obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I don't think thou canst, for then thou was not out 3 years old. So here Prospero is speaking, well, the time has come. At this very instant, you must listen and pay close attention, right? So before telling a story to his daughter Miranda, Prospero ensures one thing, that at this point of time when I'll be telling you a story, you have to be very attentive. You need to pay heed to my story, right? So then Prospero says that, can you remember the time before you came to live in this shack? Shack means hut, in which both Prospero and Miranda are living, right? So here Prospero is asking Miranda that, when for the first time we came on this island, so do you know a little bit that how we have reached on this island, how we have arrived at this island? I don't think you can. And again Prospero adds on that, I don't think you can, because you were not even 3 years old, right? So when Prospero was expelled from his own kingdom, right, Milan. So at that time, Miranda was not even 3 years old, right? So how can she remember all that? How can past memories be in the mind of Miranda, right? So here Prospero is just ensuring that Miranda's mind has some memory of those days or not, right? So what Miranda is speaking, let's see. Certainly, sir, I can. So Miranda says, "Sure, sir, I can recall that time, father." So Miranda said, "Yes, I can remember that time when we came." So Prospero says, "By what and by house or person of anything the image tell me that hath kept with my remembrance." Right? So Prospero says, "What do you remember?" Before Miranda says, "Yeah, father, I can remember. I remember those days when for the first time we came on this island." Then Prospero again asks, "Oh, what do you remember? Then tell me. Some house or person? Tell me about anything you see in your memory. Tell me anything that has left its mark in your memory." Miranda, "'Tis far off and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants, had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me." So Miranda says, "My memories seem distant and far away, more like a dream than something that I can be sure really happened. Didn't I have 4 or 5 women who took care of me?" So Prospero again says, "Thou hast and more, Miranda, but how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou remembers aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayst," right? So here Prospero saying, "Yes, you did have them. Yes, I'm sure that you will have the memory of the time. And not only 4 or 5. Miranda asks that, "Yes, father, I remember. That memory is in my mind. I can remember that at the time I had 4 or 5 women who used to take care of me." So Prospero is now saying that, "Yes, you had them, but not only 4 or 5, you had more than that number, Miranda. But how does this fact still remain in your remembrance? What else you can recall? Anything of the time before you came here, and anything of the circumstance in which you came here?" So again Miranda says, "But that I do not, Miranda. I'm sorry, I don't remember it." Right? So only that thing Miranda is able to recall that. And again Prospero asks that, "What else do you have in your memory? Just you need to recall it and let me know." Then Miranda says that, "Oh father, I'm really sorry, I don't remember that." So Prospero again said, 12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since, the father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power." So here Prospero saying, 12 years ago, Miranda, 12 years ago, your father was the Duke of Milan, a powerful prince. So here Prospero has started telling his story to his daughter Miranda. Here, so Prospero saying that it's a story of 12 years ago. It's a matter of 12 years ago. And at the time, your father was Duke of Milan. Your father was King of Milan. Your father was quite powerful prince. All the powers, all the powers were in hands of your father. Your father had a control of the entire kingdom, right? So Miranda says, "Sir, are not you my father?" So this thing blew Miranda away. This thing bewildered Miranda. This thing flabbergasted Miranda. And Miranda is surprised at this time and asking his father that means, are you then not my father? Are not you then my father? So Prospero, thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said, thou wast my daughter, and thy father was Duke of Milan, and thou his only heir and princess, no was issued. So Prospero clarifies it and said, your mother was extremely virtuous, and she said, you were my daughter, and your father was Duke of Milan, and you were his heir princess, right? So here, when Miranda didn't believe that her father was Duke of Milan in the past, right? So, and again Miranda asks Prospero that means you are not my father. So Miranda is in surprise, is in tremendous surprise, right? So Miranda asks Prospero that, and then Prospero clarifies it in a different manner, right? In a comprehensive manner. So Prospero said, yes, your mother was extremely virtuous. Your mother had a good virtues. And she said that you were my daughter. So in this way, Prospero tries to convince Miranda. Prospero tries to make Miranda understand that your mother said that you are my daughter. So in this way, I'm your father, right? And your father was King of Milan, and you were his heir princess. Miranda, of the heavens, what foul play had we, that we came from thence, or blessed wasn't we did. So Miranda again says, good Lord, what evil things were done to us that we were driven here? Or was it a blessing that we came here? So Miranda is quite innocent, and Miranda is ignorant of the truth, and whatever has been spoken by Prospero has aroused eagerness, curiosity to know more and more about the story. And here Miranda is making her own point as well, that what the hell has happened in the past that we have come on this island. So it was something, evil, or it was a blessing that we came here. So again Prospero says, both my girl, by foul play as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly whole hither. So Prospero said, yeah, it was both evil things and a blessing. We were pushed out of power by evil deed, as you can call them, but we were blessed in being helped this island, right? So actually Prospero means to say that I am regret, and it is a blessed as well, right? And it was very bad and pleasant, awful, obnoxious that I was expelled from my own kingdom just because of cheat, right? Just because of betrayal, right? And then I had to leave my own kingdom, Milan. But I am blessed that I have reached on this island very safely. I had reached on this island very safely. We could have died as well, right? So Prospero says that it is evil things that we were cheated, we were expelled from our own kingdom Milan. So it is evil things, right? but we have reached on this island very safely. We are safe and sound on this island. So it is a kind of blessing for me. So it is a blessed for me that we are safe. Why? Because we could have died as well, right? So actually, Shakespeare, is trying to talk about positivity in a very adverse situation, in a very critical situation. And Shakespeare is teaching us that whatever is the situation, whether the situation is good, bad, unpleasant, we have to have a positivity in our mind, right? Because if we are very positive, then our positivity will guide us to survive in a critical time, to survive in a tough time, to survive in a very challenging time, right? So this is actually Shakespeare wants to convey to all the readers, right? So let's move on. So here again Miranda is speaking. Oh, my heart bleeds to think, oh, the pain that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance, please you further. So Miranda is again that, oh, my heart is pained when I think of the trouble that I, as a little child, have given you. Though I remember nothing of this affair, but please tell me more, my father. So Miranda is very sad as well, grief stricken to hear from her father what has been spoken by Prospero. So Miranda's heart is full of pain, grief, concern, dejection, and Miranda says that now, if I think of this trouble, if I think of this trouble that I have given you, and though I remember nothing of this affair, but please tell me more, my father, right? So why Miranda is speaking so? Why? Because Prospero has told Miranda, no, that when we were, expelled. So at the time you were not even 3 years old. So Miranda is wondering that my father had been expelled from his own kingdom. So it was the pain of my father, and on the other hand, I was 3 years old, right? On the other hand, I was 3 years old. So my father had two things to take care of. First, my father had to survive, right? And second, my father had to take care of me. So these things my father had at the time to take care of, right? So that's why Miranda said that when I just think of this trouble, so my heart is filled with pain. My heart is filled with dejection, worry, concern, right? So here again Prospero is speaking. My brother and thy uncle called Antonio, I pray thee mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. Perfidious means treacherous, one who betrays, one who cheats on somebody, right? He whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at the time through all the signatories it was the first, and Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret study, they false uncle, those thou attend me. Here, right? So here Prospero is speaking, right? So Miranda says that, okay, tell me more about it. Tell me more about it. And Prospero is now is speaking more about the past. My brother, your uncle, whose name is Antonio, I beg you, listen carefully. Oh, how could a brother be so treacherous? So, Prospero is just saying that you have to be very attentive, Miranda. You have to be very attentive, Miranda. Right? So, now here Prospero has taken the name of his brother Antonio, right? So, Prospero says that how can a brother be so treacherous? He was a person whom I loved more than anyone else in the world other than you. I trusted him to manage Milan, where I ruled, which at that time was the most powerful state in Italy. So I, Prospero, was the most powerful king, duke, and was admired for my dignity and my unmatched knowledge of the liberal arts. Because I spent all of my time absorbed in studying secret topics, I let my brother I let my brother run the government and lost contact with my city. Your lying uncle, are you listening to me? So Prospero has spoken all these things that who betrayed us, right? So Prospero is slowly and gradually revealing the truth. Prospero slowly and gradually making Miranda know about what exactly happened in the past, that they are on this island now, right? So again, Prospero ensures that whether Miranda is listening or not. So Prospero says that are you listening to me, my dear daughter? So Miranda says, sir, most heedfully. So Miranda says, yes, sir, I am listening to you most attentively. I am listening to you very closely, right? So viewers, I hope so. Till here you have comprehended this story, and I have just explained this in a very comprehensive manner. So this was the part 2 of act 1 scene 2, right? So I will be covering up rest of the story in the next part. Till then, take care of yourself, and you need to try to get it. Something if you're not able to understand, just rewind and pause, and then you need to understand it, right? So I request you all to subscribe my YouTube channel, and like the video if you have liked it, and press the bell icon to get more notifications of such videos, right? So see you in the next class. Take care.